All right. Welcome to a live edition of How's That Logical with special guest Rena Goldman. Hi, Rena.
Hey, Jayson.
Where we decided that we wanted to talk about the madness that's going on with Hasan Piker buying a house with the money that he earned. But I've been looking into it, and it's pretty insane, actually. People are nuts. Is that too quick?
Yeah, done. Stream over.
See you later.
No, I mean, it's a fascinating, debate, right? That's going on that shouldn't really be a debate. There's also, of course, a lot of hypocrisy, as always, and I think things to unpack about the way that people attach themselves to different media personalities, which now include streamers, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they're the new rock stars.
yeah. So I think, and so there is actually a Fox News segment, article and segment on it, which I found really interesting. The fact that they are covering, that Hasan Piker purchased a house in West Hollywood.
That's crazy.
It's so that made Fox News, which is also interesting. And, funny enough, I learned that Hasan is basically my neighbor. Not that I have a $3 million home in West Hollywood, but I do live in West Hollywood. So I can speak to the prices. Kind of, was surprised I haven't run into him at some point, just because it's big, but it's small, at the same time. But, we probably just don't frequent the same spaces. But yeah, I didn't even know that he lived in the area. So Fox News, so the headline is Socialist commentator Hasan Piker faces backlash for buying $2.7 million home in Hollywood. And, and then the deck is, it's just flat out unethical to be profiting off of socialism, one user said.
He's not. Well, wow, there's so many things wrong with that. I mean, so many things I find odd about it. First of all, no one ever said you couldn't make a lot of money with socialism. I don't think anybody's ever said that. I think what people that are into socialism mean is you shouldn't make so much money that it's just absolutely insane, while there are people that are not able to eat and have houses over their head and clothing. I think that's the thing about socialism that's good. But you can have wealthier people. That's just going to happen. I don't know. I think people think socialism is communism.
Yeah, I mean, and I was
really
also looking at some polling on how public opinion has shifted, and in some cases people think it means complete government control, of everything. So I think there's also, so I'm looking at a Gallup opinion poll from 2020, right? The Americans' reaction to the word socialism, and it's there's no agreement on what socialism means, so that's interesting as well.
I think that the whole point of to have a really good system that a country can work under is to not have 100% of anything.
Yeah.
It seems like socialism has some really great points when it comes to helping people. And I don't know if communism fits in at all. Maybe the best parts of communism are some parts of socialism. And capitalism kind of goes along with socialism as long as everybody has food, healthcare, and a place to stay and clothing, basic needs that make somebody feel safe, healthy, happy, secure, and able to go out there and work and make and do things that they want to do that make life better for everyone.
Yeah, right. And you can still have rich people, but also, have people's basic needs met, and I think like the issue is when people are making money hand over fist by exploiting workers, and others. Right. And so that's not at all the issue. Like, that with people like Hasan or, even like Jimmy Dore, who's also been recently flagged for having a home, like any of these media figures, where people are like, they have this nice home. And you're like, okay, but they're not like they're, commentators, they're entertainers, or, people are paying them because they like what they have to say, or they like, they're learning from them. They like their perspective. They're not exploiting people in a warehouse, like where they can clearly be paying them livable wages, and so it's interesting to see people make that comparison, right? To say like, oh, well, you can't make a lot of money and still have these ideals. It's like, no, you can, and you can say, I'm going to pay my fair share of taxes, right? And contribute. Like, because I know that benefits everybody, and I would wager to say that somebody like Hasan, he's an independent contractor, so he probably does get hit, with some pretty heavy taxes. I mean, even like I work for a media company, and then I, also will periodically do freelance, and things on the side. And, I have to pay quarterly estimated taxes, and like they hit you, when you're an independent contractor. And, so I'm sure that he's probably in the same boat, in that regard.
Just a bigger boat.
Yeah, it's just he just pays more. Yeah, he pays more than I. And and in all honesty, like what it looks like out here in West Hollywood, like I thought, just for a hoot, let's see if I can buy a house in West Hollywood. And it's funny because I was looking into that before this all happened, and so I was kind of checking out the market, checking out prices, and it's insane out here. Like one bedroom condos go for like $500,000 or more.
Yeah.
And
it's really bad now in particular.
Yeah.
The interest rates are low, so housing is up and stuff. At least I think that's how it works. And
also you've got, like BlackRock and these, big firms buying up, houses too. There are a lot of places, even around here. As I was looking there, I came across a few listings where it's like own 1/7 of this house, and so I was trying to figure out what that even is, right? Like, so there are these
they can rent it basically.
Yeah. I mean, but then it says this is not an investment, and I'm like, is this a buy a house as a timeshare type situation?
You get it 1/7 of the year.
I mean, because it said very clearly, like, this is not, an investment, but like own part of this. So to the best of my knowledge, is like based on that list. So, yeah, I mean, so quick search here. So this is West Hollywood, right? Mm-hmm. Look at the housing prices. And, if you look here, like these are 2 beds. Oh, that one's not bad, actually. Yeah, I mean, they're, like, and actually look at, here's a 4 million and 5 million. So, if he got 2 million for what, 5 bedrooms?
You got a dump.
Then like, yeah, I mean, either, which is possible, honestly. Out here, a lot of them are, it's a fixer upper. But here, 500,000, over 500,000. Here's a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 797 square feet. That's a condo.
Oh, wow. 520.
So,
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everything is it's all relative, right? To the area. Yeah, I mean, these are
totally
crazy.
The area.
Yeah, I mean, this one's, yeah, you get an extra
there.
So, and then What's even crazy, like, the condo fees are crazy too. So you've got like, a lot of them have like $400 condo fees on top of this.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. If you can afford that, you're probably not sweating the condo fees. Unless you're an idiot and you just spend all your money on the house. That's it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But then if you crunch your numbers, and like you figure like 20% down, and then, I mean, you've got to be, to be able to afford some of these things, you've probably got to be in the 300, 400K annual salary range, like at least.
Yeah. It's super interesting to me. There seems to be something that I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm trying to figure out. But basically, it seems like if you live in a place like this, you can pretty much sell your house and move anywhere in the world. But everywhere in the world can't sell their house. Not everywhere, but all the places that are much, like for instance, if we sold our house, we could move to pretty much anywhere in the South and have a really nice house and have half the money left over to do stuff with.
Mm-hmm.
But people in the South, in our same way of life, or I guess what would be considered how you live, your means, like whether what you spend on food and stuff like that. Like they couldn't sell their house and move to Vermont at all. So I mean, it really has to do with obviously the market for sure. The thing that about Hasan though, with his buying the house, the thing I never really understood why people get upset is because, like, if you're a warrior for trying to help people that can't help themselves, or people that are starving, or children that are starving, for God's sake, and then you write a book on it, and then that book sells really, really well, and you become a millionaire because of it, does that now mean that you suck? I mean, honestly, that does. And what if you do something crazy like buy a house? It doesn't make sense to me that people freak out over that stuff.
It seems to be a lot of the rhetoric, today, especially. And I mean, it might be because there are a lot of people hurting, and so it's understandable to be upset, and frustrated, right? If you are hurting and,
sure,
and you're seeing all that, but at the same time, there's nothing inherently wrong with, somebody writing a book or being a entertainer or media figure or, putting in the work, and I mean, part of these equations, right, it's part hard work and it's part luck, and that's with everything, right? Like there are huge amounts of inequities in this society, and there are, a lot of people that just get shut out from certain opportunities, and and that's terrible and needs to be fixed and addressed. But in Hasan's case, it was kind of the perfect storm of, he had an initial connection, in Cenk, it was able to build himself up, but then he did put in that hard work.
If you have somebody that's fighting for the left or socialism or any kind of any of those talking points or anything like that, and they become so famous that they actually start to be able to move legislation and get the word out and other people hear it, why would you want to start over now that that person has money and has power and has some pull in the world? Why are you attacking them? Do you want to start over again with somebody that's not known? Is that what you want? Do you want them to stay not known forever, or do you want them to just give away their money? Like, where's the logic there? I'm trying to figure out what the point is, or is it just jealousy? It really just doesn't. I really just struggled to understand this when you text this to me earlier about people are upset that he bought. Like when I found out that Jimmy Dore bought a house, a $2 million house or whatever, I was like, makes sense. He's probably making a lot of money, and I moved on with my day.
Yeah,
that was about it. I mean, when he goes after people like Nancy Pelosi, like, oh, she's a $200 millionaire. He's making the point that, and she's not fighting for legislation that helps the younger, the people that aren't as well off. He obviously is constantly on his show fighting for people that don't have very much, and he's rich. It's different.
Yeah, that's also the thing that's not really defined, right? It's like, I think that people are looking at, like all of these left commentators or journalists and thinking like, oh, they can fix the problems, right? But like
Maybe.
they can't. I mean, they can raise awareness, they can educate, they can, boost issues. Some of them organize, as well, and bring people together, but I mean, these people are not our saviors either, and I think like that people are overly critical. It's like, well, how dare they, buy this thing, they're a traitor to the cause, or, this, but it's like at the end of the day, like, this is how these people make their income. Like, this is their job.
Yeah.
Like, this is how they make a living. Like, I don't know why we thought that was otherwise. And that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with them making their living, that way.
It would be different though if if on his show he advocated for everyone to stay poor. That would then make sense if suddenly he bought a house. Then he'd be like, hey, wait a minute, you've been telling us to stay poor. Now you're just getting rich and buying a house? That's fine. That's not what he's doing. That actually would make sense. I wouldn't understand the show at all, but I would at least understand the outrage. Like when Bernie Sanders wrote a book and finally made his first $1 million at 100,000 years old, he's never advocated for everyone to stay poor. He's advocating for everyone to do better and get more resources to become a happier and healthier person, not to stay poor. So it's not weird when he sells a book, gets $1 million, and decides to buy a moderate house. Everybody calls it a mansion. It's a $600,000 house on Lake Champlain. That's not a mansion.
You can get a condo for that in West Hollywood.
It's a nice house, but it's not a mansion at all. And it's so funny. They also say he's driving around in his whatever car they say he's driving around. I'm like, no, I see him. He drives around in this like hybrid, like little 2-door thing. It's him and his wife. It's very amusing, but he doesn't have a Tesla or Lamborghini. But it doesn't matter. If he wanted one and he could afford it, get one. Who cares? Yeah. It probably has to do with clicks too. I mean, if you're generally against Hasan's beliefs, or if you're more right wing and he's obviously left, you're going to want to say something like that so your video does well. But like back to that thing we were talking about, the difference between someone like Hasan who's fighting for the underdogs, and when we complain, Jeff Bezos spends billions of dollars for 30 minutes in space. I don't remember what the numbers are, but it was something ridiculous. The difference is that Jeff Bezos has enough money to pay politicians to ensure that legislation makes it so that his company doesn't pay taxes. And those taxes would be going to helping people like his employees, who he probably should pay better, or at least pay his taxes so that those people can benefit in some other way. The point is that he's using his money to rig the system to benefit only him and his family, or whoever he decides to. And that's where the problem lies with people like Jeff Bezos, is that he's like a supervillain.
Yeah, exactly. There's a very clear difference, right, between just being wealthy, right, and buying things for yourself, versus like buying influence and rigging a system so that other people don't have a chance, to even get ahead, right? Yeah. Like, it's like, you're not saying that everybody's going to have an equal outcome, but like, at least don't rig the system against a large percentage.
Or if you're going to
of
rig the
people.
system, we're going to try and stop you.